After the Mexican-American War, Veracruz came under fire when the French invaded in 1863, and again in 1914 when the U.S. came in. Now, in both cases, the reason for war was ostensibly to make sure that the Mexicans would repay the debts owed. But in both cases, there really was a bit of empire building going on. In the case of the French, the Emperor Louis Napoleon wanted to create a new French empire and saw Mexico as an opportunity to create a part of France over here. It didn't work out so good. The emperor he installed, Maximilian, was not popular. France ran into trouble. They had to fight a war with Germany, and they cut support for Maximilian. He was executed, and the French hopes for empire here in America were dashed. When America invaded in 1914, again, the reason was given that they needed to secure debts and to make sure that they would collect the port taxes here in Veracruz to pay debts that Mexico was defaulting on. But the real reason was to show American strength to the Mexican leaders in the revolution, that America had an interest in this region, that they didn't want to see the mineral rights and the oil rights owned by U.S. citizens to be misplaced, if you will. In both cases, the Mexican army didn't really stand much of a chance against the French or the Americans. But they fought on. They fought the French, particularly at the Battle of Puebla, where they actually won a victory, even though they lost the war, and they fought the Americans here in April of 1914, very bitterly, in fact. And I guess it goes to show that even though they didn't have a chance, their honor demanded that they nevertheless fight the good fight. And I can see some of this spirit in the way Mexico fights the drug trafficking. Ironically, most of the drugs coming into Mexico are not to stay here, but to go through Mexico up into the United States. And yet, the Mexicans are fighting and dying to combat what really is a United States problem. That spirit, to fight no matter what, and never give up, is something that's unique about the Mexicans. I mean, other guys have fought and died, but the way they do it and the reasons they do it are unique. It goes back to Cuauhtémoc, who stood against the Spanish and allowed Tenochtitlan to be devastated rather than surrender. And only after all that he had truly was gone did he actually concede defeat.